I was willing to die for my respect at this point. I don't care. You get what I'm saying? Like, if this is what you want to do, I still have my dignity. Now you think you slick. You're not going to keep tripping me up.
This case is about one man's jealousy, lies, and greed. That man is not Rakim.
Did Mr. Mayers, the man at the table, did he use a real gun or did he use a fake gun?
As the jury begins deliberations in the trial of A$AP Rocky, all eyes, all focus is on one question that could determine his fate. Did he shoot Terrell Efron, his former friend, during a confrontation out in LA in November of 2021? Rocky has been accused of firing a gun at Mr. Efron, but the defense insists this was a fake gun that could only fire blanks. Now, after weeks of explosive testimony, we're going to break down the key moments from this very high-profile and very high-stakes trial. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. As the jury prepares to deliberate in the trial of A$AP Rocky, all eyes are on the key question that could determine everything. Was the gun that he allegedly wielded during a November 2021 Hollywood confrontation, was it real? Or was it rather just a prop gun that he apparently got from a music video shoot? That's going to be the key question. This 3-week trial, unfolding in a Los Angeles courtroom for all of us to see, has been a high-stakes battle, with A$AP Rocky facing serious charges that could land him in prison for reportedly up to 8 years. So these charges, they stem from a November 6, 2021 incident outside of the W Hotel in Hollywood, where Rocky allegedly fired gunshots at his former friend, Terrell Efron. Now, prosecutors argue that Rocky fired 2 shots at Efron, which led to his arrest, 2 charges of assault with a semi-automatic firearm. Rocky, though, this is interesting, turned down a plea agreement. It would have resulted in a 180-day jail sentence, opting instead to plead not guilty, take this to trial, face the charges in court. Now, the defense, led by attorney Joe Tacopina, has argued that Rocky's involvement in this incident has been grossly exaggerated, claiming that Efron has fabricated what really went down. Tacopina maintains that the weapon in question wasn't even a real gun, but rather a prop gun that was used for a music video that Rocky filmed with his partner, pop star Rihanna. Now, the authenticity of that weapon, to be clear, is probably the whole case, whether he's guilty or not guilty. And much of the courtroom drama centered around proving whether it was a real gun or not. So while you have a video that seems to capture Rocky holding a gun, the grainy footage is just that, it's grainy. It's impossible to confirm its authenticity, the gun's authenticity. And by the way, there was no real forensic evidence directly linking Rocky to the alleged shooting, and police initially found no shell casings or other physical evidence at the scene. However, Mr. Efron, the only witness to identify Rocky as the shooter, came under intense scrutiny during a lengthy cross-examination. The defense painted him as a liar and an instigator who was motivated by financial gain. And it's all about whether or not he was looking for a payday. Was he contacting a civil lawyer? Did he want to file a lawsuit before he contacted and cooperated with police? And also, by the way, talking about the shell casings, he apparently was the one who found them. So he was the one who had the shell casings, went to the scene, allegedly found them, and then turned them over to law enforcement. Obviously, that raises doubts about his credibility. Quick sidebar from Sidebar. I want to talk to you guys about something. There is an issue that is affecting a lot of people right now that I want to talk about. It is personal debt. We have all felt the pressure under credit card bills, personal loans, medical bills. Getting out of debt can feel impossible, but it really doesn't have to be, because our sponsor, PDS Debt, offers a customized solution to help you manage your debt. With their technology, they go beyond the numbers to understand your unique financial situation and come up with a clear path to get you back on track. And here's the best part. There's no minimum credit score required. Yeah, so whether your credit score is bad or fair, they're here to help you pay off your debt faster and start putting your hard-earned money back into the things you love. Every day you wait, it is costing you money. So get started with your free debt analysis in just 30 seconds at pdsdebt.com/sidebar. Now, as the jury enters deliberations, they have to weigh the conflicting testimonies, the evidence, and then they have to come to a decision. So, while we wait for that outcome, we actually want to rewind and take a closer look at the highlights from this trial so we can get you fully caught up to speed, so we know what to expect and what we can understand when this decision comes down, whatever that may be. So let's start with opening statements. The jury heard sharply contrasting accounts of who escalated this confrontation between Rocky and Efron. And prosecutor Paul Przemysłowicz argued that Efron hoping to resolve a long-standing feud, agreed to meet Rocky outside of a parking garage. But instead of patching things up, the prosecutor claims that Rocky pulled a gun on Efron and threatened to kill him.
November 6, 2021. You'll hear that Mr. Efron was in Los Angeles working with one of the artists that he managed. He was asleep around 9:00 p.m. when he started receiving a series of urgent messages from not only from Mr. Mayers, but from the two other men that were with him, ASAP Ills and ASAP 12. And you'll hear that he received a number of calls kind of back to back to back from the three of them. Now, he didn't answer those calls because he was sleeping, but when he ultimately woke up, he saw that he had a number of missed calls. He also received text messages from Mr. Mayers that were aggressive, seeking a confrontation with him, asking him where he was. Mr. Mayers is on the left side of this conversation. Where are you at? Let's get to it. Stop ducking my calls. The messages that the victim's receiving are instantly aggressive towards him. So you will hear from Mr. Efron that he called the defendant. He was groggy because he had just woken up. They had a conversation and they agreed to meet outside of the W Hotel in Hollywood. Mr. Efron will tell you that as he went to that meeting, he was of the frame of mind that he and Mr. Mayers were going to have a confrontation. That he believed they would argue, and that ultimately this would lead to kind of repairing their relationship. So they would each be able to speak their piece and essentially fight like brothers do, and that it would ultimately bring them closer together. They would repair sort of the issues that they each had with each other. So that's how Mr. Efron is going into this meeting. And Mr. Efron will tell you, in his state of mind, he never believed that he was going to be shot. Now, despite how dangerous this is, having a semi-automatic pistol pointed at you and discharged twice, you will hear that Mr. Efron was not seriously injured by this shooting. He has these injuries to the middle knuckle of one of his hands. Mr. Efron will tell you that at the time the shooting was happening, he immediately felt a burning sensation to his hand, which led him to believe that these were graze wounds from one of the bullets that was shot at him. Perhaps they were. Perhaps they were not. Whether or not the victim in this case was actually shot or injured by this will not be something that you have to decide at the end of the case.
That's one version of events, because now we have another one. In his opening statement, defense attorney Joe Tacopina accused Terrell Efron of fabricating his version of events, including his alleged injuries, and even planting evidence driven by greed and jealousy in order to go after A$AP Rocky. So Tacopina argued that Efron's motive stemmed from a desire for money, for financial gain and revenge, suggesting that this former friend had concocted the story as part of a scheme to secure a payout.
Ladies and gentlemen, this case is about one man's jealousy, lies, and greed. And that man is not Rocky. That man's Terrell Efron, or you've heard the name Relli. He is the source of all the evidence in this case, all of it. That the prosecution is going to rely on, he's the source of all the evidence. The two assaults you're going to hear about in this case were both committed by this Relli. Both. All the evidence comes through his mouth. Every single piece of evidence for you to decide these charges comes through his mouth. This case rises or falls on his credibility. The videos you saw, without his testimony, proves absolutely nothing. You need to believe his testimony and his version of events from the video for these charges to be proven. The last thing the district attorney said on his opening statement to you was, don't leave your common sense at the door or use your common sense, something like that. Please don't leave your common sense at the door. I implore you to use your common sense in this case. Look, I will address the credibility of Relli in great detail later, what the evidence will show you. But first, let me begin explaining the purpose of an opening statement, what we do here. Opening statements are really lawyers giving you a preview of how we believe the evidence is going to show you, come in. How it will unfold in this case. But it's more than that, actually. It's a promise to you. It's a promise from us to you. It's a promise that what we say is going to be proven is actually proven. And it's not like one of those politician promises. You know the politician promises, right? If you vote for me, I'll lower taxes, I'll make it safe, unemployment will go down, all those great things that politicians promise, and then based on those promises, you vote. And then you hope they fulfill those promises. Not here. Here, both sides make promises to you right now. You get to see if we fulfill those promises, and then you vote. That's the difference. Ladies and gentlemen, you represent the state of California, the people of the state of California. It's an awesome burden. And there's no greater service a citizen of this country can do than serve in the military or do what you're being asked to do right now. Stand in judgment of another person in a matter of such great importance. It's an incredible burden to bear. But that's why the 16 of you were chosen. There were 106 people here. You made the cut because you all, and even the alternates, assured us that you could carry out that burden fairly, impartially, without a bias, without a closed mind. Listen to the evidence carefully before rendering your decision, you promised. And to base your decision only on the evidence, not some preconceived notions stemming from the nature of this case or what you may have read or heard.
This is entirely arguable.
But just on facts. And to abide by the basic tenets of our Constitution, proof beyond a reasonable doubt and a presumption of innocence. And they're not mere technicalities, instead they're the backbone of this country. A person is presumed innocent, the judge Gray told you. And it means he is in fact innocent until and unless the prosecution proves otherwise beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt, the judge will give you the law later at the end of the case. But it's a doubt that will cause you to hesitate in a matter of importance in your own life. I submit to you the decision you make in this case, at the end, will be the most important decision in the life of Rakim Mayers and his family. And I'm confident that if you apply the standard and hold the prosecution to the burden of proving each and every element of both counts, beyond that doubt, the reasonable doubt, this will work out. And that's why the 16 of you were sworn as jurors. Look, this is serious business, and I just want to tell you one last thing before we dive in. I just think some jurors, some people when they become jurors forget. No one here is going to, both sides are not going to ask you to do anything you don't do in your everyday life. No one's going to ask you to do anything when you're assessing credibility, when you make determinations of credibility. Nothing you don't do in your everyday life. Whether someone's telling the truth, whether they're lying, whether they're mistaken. Just bring your everyday life experiences. You'll be the best jurors possible. There is no magic formula. There is no elixir. And as you now know, there is no jury school. Use your God-given common sense in looking at this evidence. I know that will package you this case. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is Joe Decapine. I, along with Sarah Kaplan and Chad Siegel, have the absolute honor and privilege to represent Rakim Mayers, known globally as A$AP Rocky. The evidence will show you that Rocky was a self-made man, risen from the most humble beginnings, to extraordinary successes through work, dedication, and artistic
Your Honor,
brilliance.
this is argument is also irrelevant.
Overruled. What is said in opening statement is not evidence. What is evidence is what can be proven.
May I say?
Sometimes,
Sorry.
sometimes things are said in opening statement that cannot be proven and are not proven. Sometimes they are. That's what this case will be about.
Remember my promises. I'll remember theirs. When we talk in a few weeks on closing statements. I remember the DA put up a slide in the opening. It's from Harlem, a picture of him and Rihanna. Talked about when he was a teenager. I want to do the same thing. You'll hear he was born in Harlem, like they said. He was raised in poverty.
Your Honor.
You'll hear that
Same, Your Honor, the same
Overruled.
objection.
Stop. Overruled. Overruled.
You'll hear about his upbringing, his mother and his siblings, and how he overcame. Overcame with hard work, with dedication, and with talent.
Mr.
Rocky is not only a...
I do want you to stick to what you, the evidence will show.
Yes, sir. I do believe the evidence will show that, but I'm going to get deeper into these facts. But what the evidence will also show is he's not only a celebrated artist and a fashion icon, he's a man who raised a beautiful family. That's the district attorney put up the picture. His significant other.
Your Honor.
Just you got to get to the facts.
You're going to hear the stark contrast in two individuals. Rocky on one side, Pharrell Efron on the other side, known as Relli. He represents a very different narrative. The evidence will show you that this Relli presents himself to the world as a wealthy, successful man. Source lighted, he's a recording artist, businessman. He flaunts a very lavish lifestyle on social media. He poses with luxury goods.
Your Honor, the same objection. None of this is evidence.
Evidence will show you this. None of this is evidence yet. There's no evidence on both sides. Posting pictures of himself with large sums of cash and whatnot. It's fraud. He is all about a money grab. The truth is far different. And you're going to see this extravagant lifestyle that this Relli flaunts is nothing more than a fraud, built on not on success and hard work, but upon criminal activity. Ladies and gentlemen, this case is all about money. I've said it once, twice, I'll say it a few more times. The evidence will show you it's nothing more than a money grab, nothing more. A clear attempt at extortion by Relli so he could keep funding this extravagant lifestyle of his that he presents to the world. You're going to see the only reason we're in this courtroom is because Rocky would not agree to be a victim of another one of his crimes.
Well, the man at the center of this case, Terrell Efron, took the stand, and he was there to argue that A$AP Rocky was the one who sparked this altercation. And Efron began his testimony by explaining this growing tension in their friendship, saying that it became increasingly difficult to maintain a friendship, a relationship with Rocky once the rapper became famous. Efron described Rocky as fake, referred to him as a 6-month man because the rapper would often ignore his calls and texts, according to him.
Were you also feeling tension in your relationship with him?
I mean, it's kind of always been like that towards, it's really hard having a relationship with Rocky.
Can you explain that?
I mean, you want me to tell me my personal experience, or?
Yes.
I feel like he's fake.
How so?
He lies a lot. Like, I don't see him, so it's like, how are we gonna have a relationship? You know what I mean?
Is there anything specific that you can think of?
Yeah, with like my companies or just anything, like overall, like, you know what I mean? Like I had this one joke I call him Mr. 6-month man, because I would see him every 6 months. You know what I mean? But then when he come around, it's like, it's fake. You know what I mean? Like, what are we supposed to be in this A$AP thing for? It's all smoke and mirrors.
Did you actually voice your displeasure
Oh
to
yeah.
him?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Through text messages, but nothing ever like threatening him or anything, just mostly telling him like, you gotta tighten up this fake.
But you would text message him and say,
And he won't text me back. He would never text me back.
okay.
I'll probably see him and we'll have a conversation. He'll be like, he'll laugh, like, oh, bro, you emotional or something like that. And intense, like, shit like that.
When he calls you emotional, you heard that as an insult to you, correct?
Not really.
Okay, how did you take it?
Like he's trying to shoot me off. Like using that as like leverage to be like, not get business done, I guess.
And this tension escalated just one day before the alleged altercation when Efron overheard a conversation while riding in a car with his friend Jabari Shelton, also known as ASAP Bari, because Efron claimed that he heard Rocky bad-mouthing him on that call.
So then Rocky's like, oh yeah, you know, I got my with me, boom, 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 whatever. And then instantly after that, he says, that Relli. And I'm like, I'm sitting in the back of the chair, and I kind of get up, and I'm like, and then Barbie like stops me. He's like, and then I'm listening, and then he's like, oh yeah, I don't with, can I say what I want to say?
Yes.
Say it.
So he pretty much was like, oh, I don't with that, be mad emotional, like this, that, and the third, pretty much. It was so long ago, but it was, and the contents of that. And then Jabari's like, what you mean you don't with him? And he's like, I just don't with him. I don't like that, like this, that, and the third. And after he said something about like, it's so long ago, but he was like, I'll beat him up or something like that. So, you want to keep going?
Let me stop you. You said that you keep saying he said. Were those all things that the defendant said specifically?
Yeah.
So he was the one that said he doesn't with you, correct?
Yeah.
Had you said anything at that point in the car that would have alerted him to the fact that you were actually in the car?
No, he didn't know I was there.
Did Jabari,
I wanted to say something, but Ari was like kind of put his hand to the side to like my leg, you know what I mean? And I was just listening.
I'm assuming then that Jabari didn't tell him, I'm in the car with...
Oh, no.
Now, Efron claims that he received a barrage of calls and texts from A$AP Rocky on November 6, 2021. And he said he thought this was an opportunity to finally settle their long-standing issues. And based on the earlier conversation that he apparently overheard between Rocky and A$AP Bari, Efron hoped that they could talk things out peacefully. However, when they met up, Efron testified that Rocky grabbed him, pulled a gun from his waistband, and threatened to kill him. And he testified in excruciating detail the moment that gun was allegedly pointed at him.
When you said he pointed it at you, where on your body was it pointing?
Like towards my stomach, like towards like my headish a little. Like everything was happening so fast. So fast, you know what I mean?
And from what you're describing, was it moving?
Yeah, it was moving. He had it up.
Okay, so he didn't just hold it at your stomach. It was kind of...
No, he was looking for a spot to shoot me.
Okay.
Like if Elijah wasn't there, I don't know what would have happened.
And you said as he was pointing it at you what did he say?
I'll kill you right now.
And was that in an angry tone?
Yeah, he was livid.
Was his voice elevated? Like, was he yelling this at you, or was this something he was saying quiet?
Yeah, because we was yelling back and forth at this point.
All right. And you said that after he pointed the gun at you, you became angry, correct?
Yeah, I became furious.
So what did you say back to him?
I told him to use it.
Why
Now,
did you...
Because mentally, like, I couldn't believe he just pulled the gun out on me. So I'm like, what the Like, you better use that what you got a gun for.
Can you explain, I want, as best you can to the jury, explain to them what you mean by, I can't believe he just pulled a gun on me. What do you mean by that?
Like, I physically cannot believe there was a gun in my face. Like, that was the breaking point for me. Because like what I said, I told this kid numerous times, if you have a problem with me, let me know. You know what I mean? I feel like this got to the max. Like, this was like, no return. So, if I was willing to die for my respect at this point, I don't care. You get what I'm saying? Like, if this is what you want to do, I still have my dignity. That's how I felt.
did you personally see him with a gun on occasions before this?
No, he has a lot of security.
Okay. Did you, if someone said that the defendant was known to carry a prop gun or fake guns, would that have been knowledge that you personally had?
No, you don't carry fake guns. You don't. Prop guns?
Yes.
No.
You never knew him to carry a prop?
No.
Here's something interesting. So Efron emphasized that he had never seen Rocky carry a gun before, which makes it interesting for the defense's claims that Rocky had carried around a prop gun or a fake weapon as a form of self-protection. And he went on to detail the moment that the gun was allegedly fired at him.
Like I said, it was like a movie kind of boom. And then just running around trying to get me.
Okay, the motion he made with his arm, Your Honor.
Describe.
Yeah, so he had his arm extended out, and then as he was saying shot down, he lifted his arm up to about head high, and then had his pointer finger sort of pointed forward but in a downward trajectory.
Hand was higher than this.
Well, I don't really remember, but from what it was more like it was fast. He turned around, and then it was like boom. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not like.
Okay. You said that as he shot the gun the first time,
Mm-hmm.
you said your hand felt hot, correct?
Yeah,
Where on your hand felt hot?
my left hand.
Where?
My left hand. Just right above my knuckles. Like my knuckles is right here, up below my knuckles. So it's right here.
Okay, so that was all his direct examination, being questioned by the prosecution. Now we got to head over to Efron's cross-examination when he was questioned by defense attorney Joe Tacopina. And this was chaotic, and it was filled with a lot of tension. Why? Because Tacopina began by pressing Efron about his lifestyle and his social media posts. Again, this is a guy that the defense has argued is all about money and can't be trusted. So at one point, Efron became visibly frustrated, and a break was called to allow him to consult with his attorneys.
If somebody asks an improper question, I won't allow it to go forward. If you're being asked a question that's lawful in a courtroom, just answer it. Even if it makes you mad, even if you don't see the point of it, just answer the questions as truthfully as you can, regardless of who asks. Please do that, okay? Yes?
Yes.
So what do you mean by if it ain't about money, I ain't winking you? What's that mean?
I don't know. It's a phrase.
And what did you mean by it? You posted, what's it mean?
Nothing.
How about this next one? This is defense,
He is an ever.
he is next. From your Instagram lifestyle. That's you, sir, in a Mercedes with the caption, "More funds is the focus right now," and that's June 5th, 2023.
What's wrong with that?
Mr. Efron, I'm answering your question. I'm not saying anything's wrong.
Okay. What's up?
What do you mean by that? More funds is the focus right now.
I mean, trying to get successful. What do you mean? I do private equity. I do a lot of things, but I don't understand these questions. Why am I answering questions about my Instagram?
Well, you talked a lot about your lifestyle yesterday, about your business, and right now you're stretching private equity, which we'll get to, and how you earn your money. Right? We're talking about that. So you just said you're trading a lavish lifestyle is not important to you. So I'm talking about some of the postings on your Instagram, like this next one.
But Instagram is a place of I don't see how you basing me as a person off my Instagram.
Okay.
Let's take a 10-minute break.
Well, after that break, the defense attempted to undermine Efron's narrative by pointing to a series of text messages that he had apparently sent to Rocky before the altercation. And the defense claimed that these messages, which Efron apparently deleted before handing over his phone to the police, painted a very different picture of their relationship.
That was put into evidence yesterday by the prosecution. You saw that yesterday, correct, sir? Yeah. Okay. Now, there's no, as you see, there's no message above that, right? Under it is the video you sent of the shell casings. Subsequently, that was later, that was at 11:58. But before that, before the incident in 9:34, is just that, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Before turning your phone over to law enforcement, you in fact deleted messages which you sent to Rocky on November 6, 2021. Isn't that right?
I don't recall.
Okay. Well, let's show you. See, what wasn't on your phone, but remained on Rocky's phone, was what you deleted,
Your Honor,
Mr. Efron.
Your Honor, that is no argument.
Hold on. It's argumentative. You're right. It's argumentative.
Okay. Do you see the text messages you sent at
This is
10:30
fake.
a.m.?
This is fake.
It's fake also.
It's fake. I never seen. You don't even write like that. This dude would not write me.
No. What are you talking about?
This is supposed to be Rakim right here.
No,
This
sir. No, sir. That's you writing to Rocky.
Okay.
Okay. That's right.
Okay.
Rocky's responding to you, WYA, let's get to it, stopped up my calls. You saw that yesterday, and you wrote on the front of Trader Joe's.
Yeah, because that's when I seen Jabari. So that was the 6th when obviously when I heard him saying he was going to beat me up and do everything else under the moon.
Right. So you wrote that message to him,
I did.
correct?
I did.
Okay. Why did you delete that from your cell phone before you turned it over to law enforcement?
That assumes a
I
fact.
didn't even- I did
That
not-
assumes a
stop.
fact, not an evidence.
Did you delete that text from your cell phone?
Yeah, but I didn't delete it because I handed it over to.
Did you delete it?
Yeah.
Okay. Your question now becomes
Check out
relevant.
that.
Why did you delete that string before you turned your phone over to law enforcement?
I don't even remember what this is. Weird. Oh yeah, because I asked him to beat me up because of.
He's asked, you already said you did delete it. He's asking,
Why?
why did you delete it?
I think I deleted his whole message, and that's why it popped up a whole new one.
He's asking you why you deleted it.
I don't remember.
Okay. All right.
Now, due to the provocative language in the text, we had to blur them, but one of the deleted messages read, "You got all these fake animosity towards me, LOL, beat me up." So the defense used that message to argue that Efron was the one who instigated this altercation. And despite admitting to deleting the text, Efron didn't appear to really be able to explain why he did so. But the defense also sought to undermine Efron's credibility by highlighting inconsistencies between his testimony and his previous statements. There was a whole back and forth about whether or not the gun was pressed up against him.
Now, it's your story that during this initial encounter that we just observed, Rocky pressed the gun against your stomach. Correct?
Yes, correct.
He also pressed.
He didn't touch my stomach, but he pointed it out at me. Nothing that physically touched me. He pointed it at me.
Okay, so it didn't physically touch your stomach.
No, I didn't touch my stomach, sir.
So therefore, if it didn't physically touch your stomach,
It was in between.
Let me finish. If it didn't physically touch your stomach, like you just said, you wouldn't have felt the barrel of the gun against your stomach, right?
I don't know what I was feeling. Everything happened fast.
Oh, I understand.
Fast.
Right. But you just told the jury nothing physically touched your stomach. Gun did not physically touch you, right?
I don't recall, sir.
Okay. Did you not testify that you felt the barrel of the gun touching your stomach previously?
I don't recall.
Okay. I'll help you. What's the deal? Very
Yeah, like you gotta read, but I don't know.
Oh, I've been doing that, Mr. But I'll do it again. He's like Elijah and 12 he's off to the side. Elijah's put it away. No. He's literally, I'm feeling the barrel of the gun in my stomach. Like, do you recall saying that to the district attorney in 2022?
Say it again. Like Elijah and
This is the relevant portion.
Wait, hold on, sir. What was this, a phone call or?
Phone interview with the district attorney's office in 2022. You recall saying, I'm feeling the barrel of the gun in my stomach.
I'm feeling the barrel of the gun in my stomach. I don't recall.
Okay.
I want to be clear, is the question whether you recall saying it, or is the question whether in fact, I believe the question was, does you recall saying it?
Correct.
Okay.
Because initially today he said nothing touched. So that was my question. Thank you, Ron. Thank you. You also told detectives that in that instance that we saw in this video, not only did he put the gun to your stomach, but he also put the gun to your head. Right?
No, he didn't put no actual pistol. It didn't never touch me, but he pointed it. He pointed it to my stomach, and I said that she's trying to trip me up. He pointed it to me, to my head and my stomach, and he said he's going to kill me.
Okay.
Efron also testified that Rocky had threatened to kill him, but that claim was challenged by a previous interview with prosecutors where Efron seemed kind of uncertain about what exactly Rocky had said during this confrontation.
And you testified that he also said, I'll kill you right now. Right?
Yeah.
First of all, do you remember those words? Specifically, remember those words, sir?
I mean, he's screaming it. He's saying, like, I'll kill you.
Did he say those words, I'll kill you?
Yes.
You're sure?
Yes.
Okay. In fact, when you spoke to the district attorney only 1 year later, in November of 2022, on tape, what you said was, you don't remember what he said because it was so long ago. Isn't that true?
I mean, that's pretty much a tactic you had since day one, drag it out. But if I'm refreshed, I can remember. It's been 3 years. He was innocent. He would be home a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't know.
There's no question.
But 3 years. It's been going on for 3
No,
years.
stop. Just wait till we ask him a question. Why don't you ask,
That's a fair question, I think.
no, I know that, but we're almost 4 o'clock, so go ahead and finish the topic, and then we're going to take a break. Recess.
Here's the question. You swore to this jury that Rocky said to you exact words, I'll kill you right now. Not that something like it. You remember those words you told this jury.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah, I remember.
1 year after this incident, sir. 1 year after. Not 3.5 years later, like it is now. 1 year after, you had a taped interview with the district attorney's office.
Mm-hmm.
And what you said to them was, and then Rocky, like, he's saying something, I don't really remember because it was just like a long time ago, so I don't really remember what he was saying.
Because I'm getting tired of talking to everybody, bro. Nothing was happening. It took them 9 months to even pursue the case.
Now, adding to the defense's case, alleged phone recordings had surfaced between Efron and a friend, Wally Sajimi, where Efron appeared to discuss suing ASAP Rocky and that this was his plan all along. And when these recordings were introduced, Efron denied their authenticity, claiming they were fake, meaning they were not initially allowed in as evidence, but things became more suspicious when he was questioned on why he allegedly called Mr. Sajimi during a lunch break in the trial to apparently discuss the recordings.
Speaking of saying, you always said 3 or 4 shots. You talked about Wally Sajimi the other day. You remember Wally?
I don't remember. I mean,
You know who Wally is? Sorry?
let's go, Mr. Tucker. You know, let's go.
Well, we're gonna go when you answer my question. You know who Wally is?
I do.
Okay. In fact, you told Wally he shot you 5 times, right?
No, I didn't.
You didn't say it?
No, I didn't.
And by the way, speaking of Wally, last Thursday was my first day of cross-examination of you, and I asked you about a statement you made to Wally that morning.
The question came in terms of that morning. Sustain us another.
You mean the morning
The morning of the
cross-examination?
examination, yes, sir. The morning of the examination last Thursday, I asked you questions about Wally. And statements you may have made to Wally, which you denied. At the lunch break, Mr. Efron, you called Wally, correct?
I called him after everything because, I mean, you guys got y'all whipping up lies over here. None of it, you have no evidence to back that up.
Hold on, Mr. Efron, you're not answering this question. He's talking about the lunch break. Ask it again.
And I'm not, and I'm
Mr.
allowed
Efron, wait. Ask the question again.
After Wally's name was brought up on cross-examination by me, the statements you made on the recordings that you say were fake, you called Wally.
He
That's
didn't
a
answer.
compound question,
It
there are
is.
3 questions.
All right. You were inquiring about whether he made a phone call at the lunch, on the lunch
He
break
was lying.
following your, beginning your
Yes,
cross-examination?
sir.
You understand the question? All right. Did you call Wally during the lunch break?
No.
Did you call him after court?
Yes, I did.
Oh. And why'd you call Wally?
Because, I mean, you guys is just lying, lies after lies. You can't back it up. These guys are, I mean,
We can't back it up.
I mean, you can't. You can't.
Did you hear the tape recording? Did you say fake?
All right. Stop.
This point is
Ask another question.
I guess we'll see about that, right?
Your Honor,
Sustain.
can the court instructed previously, and this is editorializing, Mr. Lennon is not doing that in his arrest.
Right.
He's right.
But I
It's
know,
like
you
night
wouldn't
and
say
day.
saying.
I don't
made up
understand
Don't-
answers.
what you're saying.
Don't editorialize.
Then you should strike his answers, Your Honor.
They are non-responsive.
They are not responsible. Anyway, so you called him because we were presenting fake evidence to you?
Yes or no?
I don't know. I don't know, man. There's just,
Why did you call him? Mr.
because
Efron?
you guys just keep playing fake audio to me, like fake stuff. I never said none of that to him. It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't fit in with this case. You're trying to slip it in.
Okay, stop. All right, you answer the question.
So that's why you called Wally.
I mean, you guys are saying I'm cool with him and I got his number and he's making up fake lies. That's like, he didn't even answer, so I don't even know what are we talking about. He did not answer. What are you going to say? He answered and make up another spoof call?
You're done.
Motion to strike is non-responsive.
He's moved to strike his own witness testimony, okay.
Yeah, the entire answer is
Your
non-responsive.
Honor, counsel is editorializing indicating what I'm moving to strike. I'm following the evidence flow of the state of California. I suggest that counsel follow it as well, and not editorialize as to why I'm asking things to be stricken. It's improper.
You just stop squabbling. Just stop it.
I'm not swallowing.
Nobody, this is a no squabble zone.
And then the plot thickened when Wally Sajimi himself unexpectedly appeared on the stand as a defense witness. And due to the last-minute nature of his appearance, he was called as an out-of-order witness for the defense. But Sajimi testified that those recordings were authentic, validating their admission into evidence.
On December 24th, 2024, he was in the Daily Mail article entitled Juliana Fears Heartbreaking Consequence of ASAP Rocky's Trial with a
Yeah, I
Smiley
understand
Face.
the relevance of these questions about specific.
We asked that. December 27, 2024, did Relli send you an article from the Daily Mail entitled Juliana Fears Heartbreaking Consequence of ASAP Rocky's Trial with a smiley face next to it?
Yes.
To be here today, so where are you coming from?
Paris, France.
Okay. And what were you doing in Paris, France?
Grabbing meetings, doing business deals, trying to invest in this new tech startup.
Okay. So you're there for work?
Yes.
You don't live there?
No.
Okay. You live where?
New Jersey.
When did you get here in Los Angeles, sir?
Last night late.
Okay. And why did you come here?
Really clear my name, tell the truth. Again, I just hated seeing my name tied to, lies and untruthful words.
And did it concern you as far as your professional reputation that this guy was accusing you of doctoring and making up recordings?
Yes.
Would you ever do that?
No, never. I'm not there yet with the technology, I would say. So yeah.
But even if you were there, would you
Yeah,
do that?
no, I would never. It's not honest, right? Yeah.
Did you make recordings of conversations with Relli?
Yes.
How many recordings did you make?
2. About in 2022, I believe the dates were, I forget the April date, but mid-April and then August 15th-ish, yeah.
Now you said mid-April, that's based on your recollection, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the metadata may actually say May, but around April, May
Yeah, yeah.
2022?
Yep.
Okay. And then August of 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And those are the two conversations you recorded?
Yes.
Okay. Did you give those recordings to Rocky?
Yes.
Okay. And first of all, why did you give them to Rocky?
I think it was just conversations he needed to hear.
And why do you think he needed to hear them?
Because they're about him, and a lot of it seemed just suspicious, talking about monetary things.
Now, he wasn't off the hook because during cross-examination, the prosecution raised questions about why Sajimi had recorded his conversations with Efron, especially without his knowledge, when they were supposed to be friends.
Is there anything about Relli's statements about suing the defendant, trying to get $30 million, is there anything about those statements that you are aware of that changes what actually happened the night of the incident?
No, I think I answered that.
So would you agree that whether or not Relli sues for $1, 20 million, 100 million, 20 gajillion dollars, that in the end, either the shooting happened or it didn't? Would you agree?
Yes.
And it's your further testimony that despite all that, you've never had one conversation or asked him one question, the defendant, about what actually transpired?
Objection asked.
How many calls in total did you record?
2.
2 calls? Now, you said that you were upset because the idea that Relli was coming into court, you said you were offended by his line. Is that correct?
Yes.
When you were taping his calls, did he know you were taping?
No.
Do you think that friends tape other friends' phone calls?
Sometimes they can.
I'm asking you. I'm not asking you physically. I assume, sir, that if somebody wants to record a call, I didn't ask whether it's technically possible. I'm asking, do you think that a friend records their friend's phone calls when that person doesn't know it?
Objection, he gave an answer.
That's not a legal objection. It's not
Yes,
located.
it's an objection.
question. It's speculation. What friends do is irrelevant. Ask another question.
You called Terrell a friend of yours, correct?
Yes.
Do you think that it was being a friend of his to tape his phone calls without his knowledge?
Yes.
How was that being a friend to Terrell?
Sometimes friends do things like that.
You mean sometimes friends betray friends by taping their calls and then calling other people to report what they found? Is that what you mean?
That's what we call betrayal.
Argumentative.
So, when is the last time that you had spoken to the defendant prior to immediately calling him after the May 2022 phone call?
I didn't talk to him.
What's that?
I said I didn't talk to him prior to really calling me.
No, so, well, you talked to him before, so I'm asking the last time. When did the last time been?
I'm not sure.
And a significant twist in the trial came when Terrell Efron admitted under questioning that he had apparently visited a Los Angeles gun range just, 2 weeks before the alleged shooting? That's important if we're talking about him finding the shell casings, right? Now, initially, Efron had claimed that a video showing him firing a semi-automatic pistol on October 19, 2021 was likely taken in New Jersey. However, after reviewing his Instagram archive over the weekend, Efron admitted that the video was shot at a Los Angeles gun club, and this new information, as you can imagine, raised a lot of questions.
There is nothing in your Instagram that showed you in Los Angeles on October 19, 2021. Is there?
Yes, it is.
Really? I'm going to give you a live phone. You show me on your Instagram. Give me your phone. Show me on your Instagram where it shows that you're in Los Angeles on October 19, 2021.
What do you mean a live phone?
A phone. Your Instagram. We're gonna go to your Instagram.
No, we would have to go, see, now you think you slick. We would have to go to my phone, my actual phone, and go to my archive. You're not going to show me something of my highlights, which is not there. You think you slick.
Stop,
And I'm on to you.
stop. This is,
You're not going to keep tripping me up. I'm on
Mr.
to you.
Efron,
Yo, it's
stop.
not me.
Just
Still,
stop
I'm nervous.
talking. It's,
Your Honor, we have a letter from the DA, and the letter says that Mr. Efron informed them that he went on his Instagram.
Yes, my Instagram.
all right.
Your Instagram, as in Relli Boss?
You're trying to show me somebody else's that I can't activate where I can go to my archive. You're not
all right,
slick.
stop it. He doesn't need to go on someone else's phone.
Do you have your phone with you?
You know I don't got it. It's over there. We can get it though. I can show them. We can go get it right now.
So your
We can clear this
Instagram
up.
is what caused you to go back.
No, you did because you're sneaky.
Don't be insulting. Stop it.
I'm feeling.
He is not insulting you. Don't insult him. Don't insult any lawyer that's asking you questions. You're not doing yourself any good by doing that.
I mean, I'm getting screwed. I mean, this is not what I.
How much longer do you have?
2 minutes, Your Honor.
What is it, 2 minutes?
Well, depends. Answer
All right.
question
It's
3.
12 o'clock. I would like to get finished with
Yeah, we will.
Mr. Efron before we take the break.
So anyway, what was it that caused you to remember this? What did you see?
You. Yeah, your question asking, not giving me time, tripping me up. So I went back and I analyzed my whole Instagram, analyzed everything you said, and I started realizing what you was doing. So then I went to my archive. You just tried to show me something off a story that you can't get in your archive. So you're already like lying to people or lying about the situation because you know I cannot see it through that way. I would through my phone.
You cannot accuse anybody of lying. Do not do that.
Nobody
I told
told
you, nothing derogatory.
But nobody told me this. I mean, this is all
I'm
new.
telling you, and I've been telling you, do not be derogatory
This is all new.
toward anyone in this courtroom. Go ahead.
Okay, so stepping away from Terrell Efron for a moment. Later on, the prosecution called the lead detective to the stand, who testified that based on his investigation and the evidence, he believed that the gun used in this incident was a real firearm.
And based upon those individual videos, you could tell certain characteristics about the gun. Do you recall that?
Yes.
When you review evidence to determine something like whether a gun is operable, if you have multiple videos, do you view those videos individually to make that determination, or do you view them collectively to make that determination?
Collectively, obviously, look at them individually, but look at them as a whole, and obviously try to put them in sequence with events collectively.
Okay. And I believe you said when you reviewed the video from the parking structure, that individual video, you couldn't say it was an operable gun, correct?
Correct.
But when you review the video collectively, is it your belief that the gun that we see in the defendant's hand was operable?
Objection to leading, Your Honor.
It is.
When you viewed the videos collectively, what was your opinion regarding whether the gun was operational?
That it was an operational firearm.
How did you come to that determination?
I mean, in the totality of the circumstances, the first view of the weapon, followed by the second view, the reaction to the incident as the four individuals in the distance in the camera were scrambling, as you can see that something was going on, in conjunction with the sounds of the shots heard from the other camera, and then the fluidity of everybody running through the cameras over to El Centro. That along the lines with the information provided by Mr. Efron, that was my opinion that it was an operable firearm and the shots had been fired.
So after the prosecution rested its case, then it was the defense's turn. And the defense called one of A$AP Rocky's longtime friends to the stand, A$AP Twelvey, who told the jury, in contrast, that Rocky did carry a starter pistol, again, a prop gun, a fake gun, and that this was the weapon that he fired during the confrontation with Efron.
Do you know any security measures Rocky took in response to those instances you just testified to?
Yes.
Tell us.
I know he had to get a whole new security staff, and also I know he walked around with a prop,
Prop.
like a starter pistol, like a prop. As a defense.
Okay. And how do you know he had a prop gun?
Well, I've seen it on several occasions. The first time I seen it, it wasn't on his like body for anything. It was for a video shoot, the DMV video shoot in the Bronx.
When was that?
That was July 2021.
And you were at that video shoot?
Yes, I was.
You were actually part of the video shoot?
Yes, I came in the video.
Okay. Who else was in the video?
Me, myself, Rocky, A$AP Ills, Rihanna was featured in the video as well.
And in that video, you said you saw prop guns?
Yes. So he had a scene that was more like a private scene. Not too many people could be around the scene, and in the apartment, they were having like it was like a mini movie, you know. So he had props, he had different things to make it feel like a movie set in that scene.
Okay. And after the video shoot was complete,
Yes.
did Rocky do anything with any of those prop guns?
Well, I'm not too sure about the video shoot, but I do remember seeing him again with a prop. September of this
Same
year.
objection, Your Honor.
Sustained, not responsive.
Okay. After the video shoot, did you see him with a prop gun again?
Yes,
When?
in September
Of what year?
2021.
12E, who was apparently present during this confrontation, also disputed Efron's account of the actual incident, stating that Efron had been the aggressor, not A$AP Rocky.
Did there come a point in time where Relli and Rocky met?
Yes.
Okay. What happened when they met?
Well, as soon as they met, from what I've seen, it was just like really just grabbed Rocky. It's just as soon as he seen him, just grabbed him.
Okay. And what happened after he grabbed him?
So he's kind of grabbing him, and Relli's a big dude, you know, Relli big. So he's kind of like grabbing him and shaking him. So at this point, Rocky tries to like, I guess grab him too, but grip the floor so he can maintain his balance because Relli was kind of like trying to lift him up by his hoodie.
Now, at one point, we'll just play that video. We have that. I'm going to show you a video from that garage encounter on Argyle Street on November 6, 2021. And when you see them going backwards towards that parking sign, I guess Relli is holding Rocky and holding Relli and going backwards that way. What did you observe?
I observed, like I said, Rocky was trying to get his balance so that he wouldn't like lift him or throw him or push him anyway. But
That's going to call for speculation as to why.
The answer remains as is without adding anything.
Okay. And then, what did you see when they were going backwards?
I seen Relli like pulling like Rocky.
And what was your reaction? Your reaction?
Well, my reaction, I was surprised because from my understanding, these dudes were only supposed to have a conversation, you know? I didn't expect anything else.
Did you do anything?
Besides try to break it up, you know, just put my hands in the middle of it.
You see yourself on that video at the end there?
Yes.
You're wearing that red jacket?
Yes.
One point, is that Ills who gets in the middle?
Yes.
In that small clip there, you see Rocky holding an object that looks like a firearm.
Yes.
Okay. And what was that in fact?
That was his prop.
Okay.
Now, talking to A$AP Rocky, he ultimately chose not to take the stand in his own defense, and his legal team officially rested their case. So then we moved on to closing arguments. And during closing arguments, again, the prosecutor, one of the prosecutors, Paul Prezolomiash, urged the jury to focus on what he described as the one critical question at the heart of this case. Was it a real gun or was it a fake gun? And he emphasized that this case wasn't just about the weapon's appearance, but about the alleged serious assault that occurred on a Hollywood street corner.
The question for you to answer in this case boils down to really just one question. There's only one important question in this case. one critical question that you have to answer. And that is, did Mr. Mayers, the man at the table, did he use a real gun or did he use a fake gun? Now, for those of you who have been jurors in the past, you know that as jurors, often when you sit in these cases, you have to answer a whole host of questions. You need to answer, was the defendant, was Mr. Mayers, was he even there that night? Was a gun, did he actually have a gun? Was the gun loaded? Did he actually fire the gun? You know, there could be a bunch of different questions that you have to answer. In this case, all those questions are agreed to. And it only comes down to that one question. Was it a real gun or was it a fake gun? Now, you're not going to hear me, and you haven't heard Mr. Lewin or I throughout this case tell you that after this crime happened, that Mr. Efron did not think to himself, I want to be compensated for what happened to me. And we are not going to tell you that Mr. Efron, after this crime, this horrible crime happened, that his primary motivation wasn't, man, I really need to go to the police and make sure that whoever did this was held accountable. That's not what Mr. Efron was thinking. Mr. Efron was absolutely focused on himself. We agree to that. We talked to you about that all the way back in jury selection. We told you at the time, Mr. Efron filed a lawsuit. Mr. Efron wants money because of what happened. Okay? That hasn't been hidden from you. We actually stood here and stipulated to that with the defense. That there was a lawsuit, what the causes of actions were. We agree to all that. None of that's in dispute. It's very important that you understand your role in this case, and specifically what your role in this case is not about. You are never going to be asked to decide how much money should Mr. Efron get for what happened to him that night. Does Mr. Mayers, does he owe Mr. Efron $1, no dollars, a gazillion dollars? You'll never be asked to answer that question. Your role is not to consider that. Not to consider that question. The only question that you are here to answer is, that night in Hollywood, did Mr. Mayers have a real gun or a fake gun?
Then we go to the defense. In his closing argument, defense attorney Joe Tacopina delivered a very sharp attack on the credibility of Terrell Efron, and he described Efron, quote, as an angry pathological liar who had repeatedly, quote, committed perjury again and again and again, casting serious doubt on his testimony. And Tacopina dismissed Efron's account of the shooting, describing his alleged injuries as nothing more than knuckle scrapes, which he argued were far from the gunshot wounds that Efron claimed to have sustained.
I said that you'd see the kind of person he was in this courtroom, an angry pathological liar. That he, and he alone, is the source of all the evidence that they are relying on. And this case would rise and fall on his credibility. You take him out of the picture, there is no case. And as I promised, really showed you who he truly was when it came time to cross-examination. He's a man who told you without hesitation, I can tell people whatever I want. He said that. I can tell people whatever I want. He's their witness, who you're being asked to believe beyond a reasonable doubt. I can tell people whatever I want. He's a man who literally gave 4 different answers to one question. 4 answers, one question. He said, yes, no, I don't recall, I don't know, in one question. That was a first for me. I've been doing this for a bit. That was a first for me. 4 answers, one question. Yes, no, I don't recall, I don't know. He's a man who committed perjury before your eyes over and over again. A man who snapped, cursed, threw a water bottle while he was testifying, cursed in this courtroom. Threw a water bottle out of anger while testifying in the light of the courtroom with the judge, with the jury, with these terrific sheriff's deputies and bailiffs. That's how you act here. Imagine what he's capable of in the dark of night. Here's the thing, anyone's watching. The prosecution's evidence consists of videos, shell casings, and knuckle scrapes. And I don't know what else to call them but knuckle scrapes. I know they said, oh, he's going to call them knuckle scrapes. What am I going to call them? Bullet wounds? I mean, they're knuckle scrapes. There's no bullet in the world that could have done that. I mean, think about it. It scrapes the top of one knuckle, does a bit of a dive to the second knuckle, does a real deep dive to that third knuckle, and then scoots along. And that would be one heck of a magic bullet to do that. Just looking at those knuckle scrapes, no one has to be an expert in anything to know they are not from a bullet.
Now, it was also reported that the jury could consider self-defense here, meaning if the jury believes that this was a real gun, was A$AP Rocky acting to protect himself and others during that altercation? Therefore, could he be found not guilty because of reason of self-defense? However, prosecutor John Lewin indicated in his rebuttal closing to the jury, if this is a prop gun, there's no self-defense. So the jury is set to begin deliberations on Tuesday. If Rocky is found guilty, again, it's our understanding he could face up to 8 years in prison. You can watch the full coverage of the verdict on our Law&Crime YouTube page. But that is all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Jesse Weber. I'll speak to you next time.